Hey, it's your friend SJ, and welcome to the Wellness and Wellies podcast. Hey friend, welcome to today's show. I know it's been a while since I have taken some time to talk to you, but if you have been listening to me recently, you will understand why. We have been in the throes of moving house, and all of the things have happened in the past few weeks. And I thought in today's episode, I'd kind of catch you up, let you know what's going on, and tell you about what I have got coming up over the next couple of months, because I'm hoping that you might join me for this journey. Okay, so let's start off with the house move. So we have moved from our home in Dorset about 3.5 hours north into an area in the UK called Shropshire. And that whole process started back at Christmas when Tim, my other half, got offered a job to be a farm manager on a much bigger farm. It was a really exciting opportunity, and we said yes to that. And at the time, when we said yes back over the Christmas holidays, it felt like a long, long way away, and it came around super quick. And we finished school, and we basically loaded all of our stuff into the back of a trailer, and we moved house over what was half term for Chloe. And it has been a real roller coaster of a ride. So we decided not to use removals to move us for a couple of reasons. We decided to do it ourselves, mainly because we needed to save the money because we've got a holiday coming up, and we wanted to use the opportunity to really clear everything out the house, really make sure that we weren't taking anything with us that wasn't going to serve us. And we decided to hire a trailer to put on the back of our pickup because it was just more affordable. But obviously with that comes all of the stress of moving things yourself. And so we actually did a pre-move the 10th of February. We did sort of the first load, as we called it, and Chloe had finished school on the 9th. The 10th, we had the trailer loaded up on the Saturday, and we came to the new house, and we sort of unloaded the first load of the trailer with kind of the stuff that you don't use on a day-to-day basis. So you know what I mean, the extra summer clothes and, just the bits and pieces that you don't use on the day-to-day basis. And we kept the bare minimum of things like cutlery and cooking utensils and all of those kind of things. And we dropped it off at the house, and then we went back to our home in Dorset, and I was working the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I actually had to go into London on the Monday in the middle of all of this kind of chaos. Tim was an absolute hero and was packing and putting things in boxes, and Chloe was super, super helpful, my daughter Chloe as well, while I was still trying to kind of navigate, still doing work, going into London. And London was important because I was kind of leading a meeting that we were having. So we had all of the things going on. And unfortunately, in the middle of all of that as well, we had to, on the Wednesday, we had to have one of our dogs put to sleep. And oh my gosh, we were in the midst of moving house, and he, bless him, so Aero, his name was, he was our old Cocker Spaniel. He was 13 years old. And we had to, he had dementia, and he just took a really, really bad turn for the worse one evening. And we just really felt that at that point it was the right thing to do for him. It was absolutely heartbreaking. Those of you that have pets, it's just the worst, and they just leave this massive hole in your heart, in your home. And we were then obviously the next couple of days, the next day, basically the Thursday, we had to load up the rest of, well, we were still loading up the trailer. We were, moving washing machines, moving dishwashers and all of the things. And we did have some wonderful friends who did come and help with some of the heavy lifting as well, which was brilliant. And we just basically packed up everything into the trailer and we drove here on the Thursday. So it was really quite the week. It was like Valentine's Day on the 14th, on the Wednesday. The dog, we had to have the dog put to sleep on the Tuesday. And then Thursday, we had our stuff in a trailer and we packed up our lives and moved. So yeah, it has definitely been like a really, really stressful week. One of the things that I've really learned in that part of the process is just actually how important it is to go through your stuff on a regular basis, to clear out the things that you don't use, that you don't need. If you have children, how much stuff kids hoard and how they might have toys that they have not played with for 6 months. And then all of a sudden you're trying to have a sort out and they've decided that is the most important toy that they have ever had in their whole entire life. And you just couldn't possibly ever throw it away. So we certainly went through a lot of that, but it's really cathartic, really good to clear out the things that just don't serve you, the things that you're holding on to. And you kind of have to ask yourself the question of, why are you still holding on to these things? What is the point of it? And, I really did sort of have a really good sort out and, we only really brought the things that we felt we needed. And that was quite a nice feeling going through that process. So moving day was the Thursday after Valentine's Day, so the 15th of February. It was about, probably because we had the trailer as well on the back of the pickup, it took us the best part of sort of 4.5, 5 hours because we had to stop. So I was driving my little Mini Cooper with the now 3 dogs in the car. So I had a golden retriever and a Labrador on the back seat of my Mini, and I had my Springer Collie Cross on the front seat, and my Labrador, who is Sky, who is nearly a year old, and Rosie, who is the Springer Collie Cross, absolutely fine in the car. Don't bat an eyelid. They just settle down and they're quite happy, and traveling is not a thing for them. The golden retriever Comet, though, bless him, I think he was dealing with the grief of the fact that we had lost Aero, and he spent the whole of that journey sort of quite stressed and unsettled, and literally panting down the back of my neck as I was driving along for 3.5, 4 hours. And as you can imagine, that was quite a unpleasant experience. And I spent most of the journey with the window down so that the wind was blowing in his face, so I didn't have to smell his doggy smelly breath all the way. But we made it, and when we got to the new house, it was brilliant because there was a couple of guys on the farm who are part of Tim's team, and they came to help unload and sort of carry a lot of the heavy stuff, which I was really, really grateful for. And then the next few days over the weekend was spent as it is, isn't it? Unpacking things, trying to find homes for things, just sort of trying to make the house feel like it's yours, like it's, your new home. And of course we set up Chloe's bedroom first, and she was very excited because in our new home she's got a new, it's a much bigger room and she can have a lot more of her toys in there, and it's a really nice light and airy house, and the rooms are a lot easier to kind of contend with. In our old house it was very it was a lot darker because it was more of sort of a cottagey type, farm cottagey type feel, and the rooms were quite quirky and it had loads of character. It was lovely, but it was really difficult to get furniture in, and it didn't have a lot of space for things like wardrobes. So Chloe's super excited. She's got this lovely big bedroom with lots and lots of her toys in, and we've really made it a really proper special place for her. And I have to say, when we first came to this house back in Christmas time, and they were showing us the house, I was really dubious about whether or not I was going to like it. And I was quite negative about it. But now that we're here and the work the estate have done on the house, for those of you that don't know, like part of the gig kind of thing when you're managing a farm in the way that Tim does is you normally get your accommodation as part of sort of the deal. And I was quite worried about the house when we first saw it, but they did a really good job and they've renovated a lot of it, and it really does feel like such a nice, light, airy space, and it's really nice. And my mum kept telling me, she was saying, oh, you're going to notice the difference. Like our house was very cozy and cottagey, but she was like, you're going to like the light. And she is absolutely right. And where I'm talking to you from right now, I've kind of made this sort of little corner in my bedroom where I've got a chair and a microphone, and I can see out this really, really big window across like all the fields, and I can see the hills in the background, and there is just light like all over the house. There is just light, and it's sort of like 4:30 in the afternoon. It's a bit cloudy, but I don't need to have a light on in the house, which, you know, back in our old house, I certainly would have had to do that. So it's such a good thing, I think, for like your mental health if you are in a space where there's loads and loads of natural light. And I know for architects, like when they're designing houses, that's quite a big thing. So we're doing good. We've just had like the most full-on week of Tim like getting to grips with his new role, Chloe starting in a new school, and all of the kind of challenges that comes with that, and just really like finding our feet and getting to know the place and trying to get to know people. And I will kind of like share with you a bit more about like that process as we carry on. But to say to you, like, if you're going through something like this and you're going through sort of this, you know, like change, whether it's moving house or jobs or stuff like that, I think the biggest challenge that you can face, and certainly that I feel like I've had to face, is trying to find that new structure, trying to find the new routine of, you know, what does our day-to-day look like? And like so much of the things that we do, that I do, are based around things that I kind of do sort of that are like just automatic things, things that I put kind of like onto sort of like an autopilot, and that has all had to change. And all of those things, you know, your day-to-day morning routine where you kind of run through things, that has all been sort of like thrown up in the air, and we've really had to sort of figure out the new stuff. That's been quite hard and quite stressful at times. But the reason that I'm kind of saying this to you is that, as always, those three things that I ground everything on with this podcast and all of the things that I talk about when it comes to like your health, your well-being, all of that stuff, it's all about like these three key things: is getting enough rest. And we have had to change like the time that we go to bed because we're having to get up earlier because Tim needs to get to work earlier. So we've had to change the way that we like operate in the evenings. So we've had to change our evening routine to get ourselves to bed earlier, to then get ourselves up earlier in the morning. So we've had to change that routine, but still making sure that you're getting enough sleep, because like if you're not getting enough sleep, then you like everything else kind of like goes to pot, doesn't it? Making sure that we're eating well. And one of the things I'm actually really grateful for where we are now is there is the farm that Tim is working on, that he's managing, is just amazing. Like they've got so much emphasis on sort of like regenerative farming, having like local produce. There is the most beautiful farm shop that is like literally 5 minutes from my house, where you can get all of this incredibly locally produced food. And of course, like bonus is that we get a discount on it, which makes it for us actually quite comparable to the kind of things that you would get in a supermarket. But making sure that you're fueling yourself right. And if I kind of backtrack with you to when those actual moving days where, you're stopping off as you're on your trip and you're picking up like food on the go, and then maybe you're getting a takeaway because, you haven't got anything to eat when you get into the house, like all of those kind of things, I really felt like a knock-on effect on my body, the way that I felt, like my overall well-being, like lacking in energy. So if you're going through some kind of transition and routine, and having to change your routine, you really got to kind of get these fundamentals in place. You've got to get the sleep. You've got to make sure that you're fueling yourself. And then you need to make sure that you are finding some time to move your body in some way, like whatever that looks like for you. And I mean, on those days when we were moving, I certainly wasn't doing workouts that I would do normally because I was so tired, and I was walking around the house all the time, like moving objects and walking the dogs. And I just really didn't have the energy to kind of like start, lifting weights and that sort of thing. But as soon as we hit the Monday where Tim was starting work, Chloe was going to school, I was going back to work, that was when the workouts picked up and I was back to doing that workout that I do every single morning. And it's so important to kind of like find your routine and find that vibe when you're going through so much change. And I think having this basis, and if you imagine it like a pyramid of, your rest, you got to get your rest. You have to sleep. You got to feed your body well. You got to fuel your body well. And then at the top is your movement. And do you know what? The cherry on the top is getting a workout in if you have the energy and you can manage it. So that's kind of where we are right now. We've done our first week here. And now I'm sat on a Sunday evening before this podcast drops, talking and thinking about, okay, so what's next week going to look like? What are the next few months going to look like? And I think now's the point where we're really starting to like hone that routine. Think about, what do I want over the coming weeks? What are my kind of like goals and aims and things, if you like. So one of the things that I want to kind of talk to you about now. So for me, we've moved house. We're getting ourselves into a new place, into a new routine, getting to know new people. And I'm starting to think about, okay, so what's coming up next? Like what's kind of like the next big event or so in my diary? And one of the things that we have got coming up literally in about 2 months' time from today is we're going to be going on holiday, which is really exciting. And we're going to be going on a cruise, and I am really, really looking forward to it. We're going to go with my mum and dad, and it's going to be really, really good fun. But I know right now I am not in the place where I'm going to want people to take photos of me. And I'm not going to want to put on like nice dresses to go and eat dinners and things like that. So I'm like, right, okay, Sarah Jane, you've got like 2 months. What are you going to do to sort this out, to kind of get yourself on track, to get yourself focused to, to a point where I'm sort of, feeling like I'm, like I want to have a photo taken of me when we're on holiday, and that I want to go shopping and buy myself a nice dress. Because I think over this whole process and the stress and everything that's been going on, I've probably put on like the best part of half a stone, about 6 pounds. And I'm like, right, okay, I've got 2 months to lose that. And that's perfectly achievable. And this is why when we're thinking about like our health and fitness, it's really good to have some kind of like goal in mind. It doesn't have to be a weight loss goal. And to be honest with you, like mine isn't so much about like a number on the scale, although I am going to like track some key measurements, probably more so like my like measuring my waist and those kind of measurements rather than standing on the scale, because like we're not going to go down the rabbit hole of what I think about weights and that sort of thing. But I would really like to kind of get to a point where I could go shopping. Maybe like the week before we go on the cruise, I could go shopping and be like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to go and find myself a nice dress and I'm going to feel comfortable and I'm going to feel happy wearing that. So I would invite you, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, is I'm really going to be kind of like dialing it up over the coming months. I'm going to be digging into that fitness planner that I have. And I know some of you have taken your time and spent your money like downloading that planner and getting the digital download. And I'm so grateful for you. And I really, really would love to hear how you were getting on with that. And I am going to reach out to some of you and say hi and see how you're doing. But I'm going to go back to my fitness planner and I'm going to use it. And I'm going to focus in over the next 2 months. And I am going to think about like when I'm working out, what exercises am I doing? What are we eating? What does my nutrition look like? And making sure that I'm really on those 3 things that I talk about all the time: resting, fueling, and moving, and having a purpose to all of that. And I would really encourage you, like maybe you have like set yourself a January like weight loss goal or a health and fitness goal, and perhaps you haven't been able to kind of stay on track with that. And maybe you set a New Year's resolution and actually it wasn't the right resolution for you, and you're kind of like, maybe you've started like with Weight Watchers or Slimming World or something like that, and you're thinking, oh gosh, like this is a waste of my time, waste of my money. I would really like to bring you along for this journey with me. I would love for us to, over the next couple of months, just connect and share and, hold each other accountable to some form of goal. Your goal could be, it doesn't need to be about losing weight. Your goal could be like drinking more water. It could be making sure that you hit like 10,000 steps. It could be, going to the gym a couple of times a week or something. But I challenge you to come with me over the next couple of months. Go and grab that planner. It's a digital download. It's really affordable. Go and grab the planner and let's just kind of like, go through this process together. I'm going to set up. So if you do grab the planner over the coming few weeks and you decide to jump into this process with me, I'm going to set up like a group Voxer. So those of you that download it, I'm going to send you a link to a Voxer. Those of you in the UK, I know we're not like that au fait with Voxer. It's kind of like WhatsApp, but you don't have to share your phone number to do it. I'm going to set up like a group chat in Voxer and we can talk to each other, share what exercises we're doing. You could maybe like ask me some questions if you want to about, what your plans are and that kind of thing. And it would just be really nice to, go through this process together. So if you want to kind of be part of that sort of informal community, download the digital planner, print it out or use it like on your iPad or something. You can like it's a PDF, so you can put it onto your iPad and you can write on it on your iPad. I know some of you do that. And yeah, let's go through this process together. Let's, sort of kind of like dial things up, spend a couple of months really focusing on your health, your well-being, a goal that you might have. I mean, 2 months isn't that long when you think about it, is it? And let's go through this and do this together. And if you're kind of thinking, do you know what, that's really great. I want to download the planner, but I could really use a bit of extra support. I'm also going to post a link to a coaching session that you can purchase with me. So we can spend an hour on Zoom together. You can tell me, like what your goal is. We can talk about how you can achieve that goal and just kind of come up with a plan together of how you can achieve that goal over the coming months. So I'll put the link for that in the show notes if you need a bit more guidance. Maybe you've got a gym membership and you don't know what to do with it. Or, maybe you're trying to kind of like figure out, how to get some more movement into your day-to-day life. Or, you want to sort of, have some form of accountability, then book yourself that coaching session with me and we can go through that process together. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up now. I don't want to kind of ramble on too much over, just kind of giving you a life catch up. But I thought, as we're friends, keep you in the loop, tell you what's going on, and invite you to come on this journey over the next couple of months with me. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's support each other. And hit those goals. The link to the planner is in the show notes, and the link to the coaching session is also in the show notes. And I'm really looking forward to hitting those goals with you and going through this journey together. So have an amazing day, my friend. Have an amazing week. And next week I will be back with some more tactical stuff. I'm going to keep you updated of how I'm doing along this journey. And I am going to be back each week now that we're settled, now that we're back into a routine. I'm going to be here showing up each week for you again. So have an amazing day, and I look forward to catching you in the next episode.